It's a different type of video today. It's not on the camera. It's not anything fancy. The closest fanciest thing I have is this mic right here, real quick. But we are in Santa Maria right now. We're actually out towards a graduation for one of my buddies in the military, and I decided to take a quick trip to just go see him. And it's been about a month since I think I posted, so a lot has happened. But I think this is gonna be a weird video because I've learned so much over the past few months in realities, right? Take Mendoza, that was in the military, okay? You have that guy. Mendoza's in the military. And then take Mendoza outside of the military. And he's doing exactly what he wants to do with his life, to where his reality is solely his reality. And not many people know that type of reality. And I'll explain. Give you context. Like I said, I'm here with one of my buddies. He's graduating in the military, and he literally picked me up in his uniform. And I was like, "Oh, where are you going?" He's like, "Oh, I have to head back to base. I'm gonna drop you off at your hotel." And he was just going over so much about the military, and there was like certain moments where he was just complaining about stuff. And I had a moment where I was like, "Man, I remember that. Like, I remember the typical complaining about like the military or complaining about something like that." And obviously, you have to go through it. You still have to do it. It is what it is. Like, it's just how it goes. But it's one of those things where now that I'm outside of it, I realize like, and this is gonna get technical, but like, there are things out there in this world that will literally put a box over you. They'll literally give you an entirely coded reality. And especially if you continuously stay in that reality, it becomes your reality. And everything you feel, good or bad, is going to be based off of that and how you play life. And it's interesting because I remember Thad Mendoza just being in the military and just always not complaining, but like going through the day to day where like usually you have a lot of military people, they complain about the military, they complain about certain things, or they're just like, it's just how it is, you know. And when you get out of that and you do exactly what's you're thinking in your head, because everybody has like that little thing in their head, especially when they transition out of high school or what, when life gets real, they still have that little boy, that little thought, that little like, I wish I could be this in their head. And it just yells at you until it gets quiet. Because if you don't do anything about it, it'll literally go away. And it'll be that tiny little speck that's always going to be in your mind. And it's crazy though, because the moment I left and I literally just sat down, I was like, what does Mendoza want to do? And I want to record videos. I want to travel the world. I want to make content for people. I want to be useful. I want to be useful. And when I started pushing myself towards that direction, life started happening in the sense where I would question my day to day because I'd feel like I'm like, is this really like what grown-ups are doing? Like, is this really what like a grown-up should be doing? And by should be like, my day to day is always different. I'm either shooting videos, I'm either like editing content, or I'm either traveling, or I'm either meeting up with somebody for coffee, or I'm either spending my Monday mornings just doing whatever, or I'm either just going to the gym at whatever time I want. And it's so free flow where I always question myself. I'm like, is this what adults do? And it's a weird question because you shouldn't really ask that, because it's just like, what do you consider an adult to be doing? And I think that's the conceived notion in our head, especially when we're raised up, that we think being grown up is obviously like, you got your bills to pay, you got to go to a job every single day at a certain time, you got to leave at a certain time, and You have to have structure and all that stuff. And then you really start to question yourself. You're like, okay, but, and especially I started to question myself. I'm like, okay, but the people I know that are doing really well, a lot of them literally wake up at like 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And then they have their entire day where they just do a bunch of random stuff. But they do way better and make way more money than a typical adult. So it's like I start to question my reality really fast the moment I got out. The moment I started realizing like all the decisions that I made, especially on my birthday, where I decided I was like, that is the last time I'm ever gonna actually be at a military base. All the decisions I made, I realized at the end of the day, no one's gonna care as much as you are. Like nobody. So whatever decision you make, nobody will care. And these are all the military people, right? Because we think the moment we get out, like life should be handed to us, and it's not. It's not. Because nobody cared that you got out of the military. You have 20-year vets that get out, and then they have such a hard time, and it's still because it's the fact that like, congratulations, you got out, but nobody cares. And I know that sounds messed up, but it's the truth. And that's when I started to question myself. I'm like, life isn't real. This isn't real. All this isn't real. And there's the whole idea of free will. But it's I hope that didn't cut. But it's interesting. Because now I'm out here, and by the grace of God, of course, and by the grace of family and exactly where I'm at and all the opportunities I've gotten them because I've worked genuinely so freaking hard while I was in the military, to the point where something had to give and the floodgates opened. But I remember there were days I was literally, the moment I would get up, I would go to work, and then the moment I got off work, all the way up from like 5 o'clock in the afternoon till 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, whatever the case may be, I was working. I was building the legacy that I needed. I was building the person that I needed to become. And it wasn't just like a month. I'm talking 2 years, 3 years of just straight obsession. And when I got out, I had a moment where I was like, do I deserve this? And I quickly shut that off, and I was like, yes, you do. Because you did a majority of the things that people won't do. And you did it consistently every single day, and you didn't question yourself. And you intentionally changed your thought process, changed the way you think about life, changed the way you think about everything. And you became the person that you wanted to be. You didn't let the military basically build that persona in your mind that it builds on 90% of the people there. You spent the time sacrificing hours, sacrificing people that you met. And another thing too with that is literally the decisions that you make where you want to do your passion, but then you're like, oh, the boys are going out. Oh, the guys are going out. Oh, these people are going out. And then if you were to fast forward 2 years down the line and you let that be your reason, you're going to sit there and be like, oh my God, like none of that mattered. It didn't matter. I should have just locked in. But it's weird because I didn't do that. I did the other side where I literally was like, hey guys, I can't go out. Hey guys, I can't go out. Hey guys, I can't go out. To the point where people stopped asking me. And then that's where I'm at now. I'm at the 2-year mark after, and I was right. No one cares. No one cares about this video. It's crazy. It's crazy. So you can take this whatever way you want, regardless of whatever situation you're in. Start to ask yourself that question where it's like, does any of this really matter? What does that person inside you want, actually? And then listen, hear it. Let it talk to you. Let that kid talk to you. That kid wants you to do what exactly you want to do. Let that kid talk to you. And don't lose that kid, bro. Because once you just keep on jumping away at that rock, you're going to get to a point where that rock is just nothing. And then you have freedom and you feel free. You feel free to make any decision you want. Now, I'm not saying I'm making thousands of dollars. I'm not. Actually, I'm not. I just put myself in a better position than 99% of the people. And I know I'm in a position to make even more money in the future. And the whole thing, when you get to that point, and I started realizing, I was like, money doesn't even matter. That's another part. But that's obviously once you get to the point where you start realizing that. Because, right, like everybody and 90% of the people feel like obviously money does matter. And of course it does. But you're going to get to a point where then money doesn't even matter. And as long as you're making whatever you need to make, and as long as you're impacting as many people as you need to do or doing your actual calling, that is going to show up. It is going to be there. The whole idea of blowing your money, obviously you don't want to blow your money, but the whole idea of it is literally like it buys you your time back. It buys you your freedom. It buys you your energy. It's a different type of video, but I think it was needed. Because some of you guys are almost there. Like you're almost there. You're almost there. Or you're just starting and you don't know where to start. I didn't know where to start either. All the opportunities I have now weren't there a year ago. They weren't. I had to find a way and I had to look for the signs. Look for the signs. They're there and they're hiding right in front of your face. And then once you have the signs, don't let anyone tell you you got lucky. Don't let anyone tell you you were in a better position. Because life will give you the opportunities at whatever time. You just have to be willing to actually go after them. See you guys.